Shalom, family trendsetter. All praises be to the Most High Power. I am driving, so you will hear some noise in the background. Please bear with me. Now, I figure while I'm driving to my destination, I could just rap with y'all a little bit because, there's some things on my mind. I just want to get off my chest. So I learned today that there have been another mass shooting here in the United States of America. I believe it's one of the Carolina states. I'm not sure if it's North Carolina or South Carolina, but I heard earlier today that there has been another mass shooting, no fatalities. All praise be to the Most High for that. I believe they said it was like 10 people that got shot, and there wasn't any fatality. So it's like the second mass shooting in 1 month. Now, I'm sure many of us are accustomed to hearing about mass shooting here in the United States of America, right? So the question I have for y'all is this: what do you think is really going on? You know what I mean? Like, is this something like false flag? When I say false flag, I'm not saying it's not happening, but are they creating a problem to get a reaction, to find a solution? Because I'm a Second Amendment. I believe in the Second Amendment, right? I believe in the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. I believe in protecting your family. So are they trying to come up with scenarios to pretty much soon enough they're gonna say something like, okay, now we got to take away firearms from people because people are dangerous with firearms. So you have citizens out there going about getting firearms legally, right? Law-abiding citizens, obtaining firearms, such as myself, to protect their family, to defend their family. So they want to take away our firearm. I'm sure that's going to be the case soon enough, because that's why you see now, like every other day now and shit, right? Every other week, there's a mass shooting here in the United States of America. So are they trying to come up with some kind of false flag? Are they creating false flag to pretty much try to take away our firearms? For those of us who believe in the Second Amendment, right? Because it just doesn't make any sense to me. So now they say, okay, listen, all right, so y'all can go out there and shoot up some shit, but just don't take no lives, you know what I mean? So what's really going on? And then after this person, pretty much told me what occurred, then they said to me, it's like death is people are desensitized to death now, because in Chicago and New York, all these different urban cities, right, where predominantly black people are, where they allege that it's black on black crime. But I suspect it's something more deeper than that. I suspect these devils are going around by stealth, dressing up with black face, probably black masks, hoodies and so forth, doing drive-by. I don't just think it's just us turning guns on each other. Don't get me wrong, there are gang violence out there, right? But who's facilitating these gangs with these guns? Because I mean, as a black person, you can't even go to the store and shit and purchase a knife. I mean, you can. I'm just being, facetious, but I'm just saying, like, it's hard for us as black people to get any kind of, rights. So where are these guys getting these guns from? There was a story like a couple years back where they were saying that they walk into the alley. This is in Chicago. They walking into the alley and shit and finding crates of guns. And I believe the story. You know what I mean? Because where are these people getting these guns from? Now, of course, you can, smuggle it in illegally, but like really and truly, right? Where are they getting these guns from? Why are they not solving these crimes? You know what I'm saying? Why are there not more arrests in these cities and shit, right? It's almost like they're saying, you know what? Let them turn on each other. If we do happen to find somebody or arrest somebody, we're not gonna give them too much jail time. They out like if somebody commit attempted murder shit, they out like maybe 2 years or less. You know what I'm saying? So what's really going on? So somebody asked me, what do I think about death? Like, do I believe there's an afterlife? And to be honest with you, I do believe that there is an afterlife, but not in the sense how we was taught in the Christian churches. You know what I'm saying? Where you go to heaven or you go to hell. I don't believe in none of that shit. I believe that we are energy, right? We are energy. We come from a source, right? Because if you think about it, right? If you was like, let's say you outside and you see ants. Ants walking around, they have life, right? So you telling me when you squish your ants, right, and they die, where they go to heaven or hell? Do they have a soul? Some people might say, well, no, only humans have souls. Says who? How do we know that only humans have souls? Why? Because we hear from a book, you know what I'm saying, that was written by man. How does that man that wrote that book know that this is how it is? Did God actually speak to this individual to write, in a book, to say, okay, this is what happened after life, like what was it, life after death and shit? I mean, does God really come down and speak to man? I thought that nobody sees man to live. But there's contradictions in the Bible. Moses spoke to God face to face. Other people spoke to God face to face. So could it be that you can speak to God and the New Testament tells you can't? You know, because I think it's only in the New Testament where they allege that you can't speak to quote unquote God. But if there is a God in the sense how we view God, right? Why is it that he's allowing everything to happen the way it is? Like, for example, you may have a young baby, and I know I'm ranting, I know I'm just going from one to the next, but I'm trying to get my point across. How is it that this quote unquote God, right, allows an innocent baby to come into the world to be killed? Like, you know, like in some cases you hear, like the other day I heard about the mother who murdered her 5-year-old, and I think it was a 3-year-old, if I'm not mistaken, smothered them to death, right? So you're telling me that this God is going to allow innocent life to come into the earth, come into this world, right? Come on earth to experience death, you know, an innocent person that never really did anything, you know what I'm saying? And I have a theory that we come back. I believe that we are recycled souls, you know what I'm saying? Based on how you live your life here, the Most High either keep you, put you somewhere else, and if not, you come back here to relive your life and, you know, probably go through, I guess, judgment, if you will. I kind of believe that. But again, the person asked me, do I believe in life after death? So I said to this person straight up, I said, listen, to be honest, we don't know. We don't know what exists after we die. Because just think about it. Before you was born, right, you didn't even exist. You ceased to exist. Even if you existed, you didn't have any consciousness of what life would be until you came out of the womb and took that first breath. Because to be honest, if they don't beat you on your ass, and you don't take that first breath, you still cease to exist. You die. You literally born dead. My son, my baby that I just had the other day, he just turned 1, right? He was born dead. Literally wasn't breathing for like 13 seconds? No, yeah, 13 or 14 seconds. He was born not breathing. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at, because I never really, I mean, I know, you know, in the black community and shit, childbirth is always some issues with us, because, you know, they target us from the womb, right? So, you know, when he came out and I see he wasn't breathing, and I see the panic on the nurses' faces and shit, my wife, she was shocked. Like, she didn't even know how to react. I'm looking like, what the fuck is going on? And I see them, you know, everybody rushing over to him, and I'm like, he wasn't breathing. They rubbing his chest and trying to, I don't know what they was doing with his chest. I guess trying to, what's that word I would want to use? Trying to, anyway, I'm not gonna miss the video because I don't remember what he was trying to do. But anyway, you know, and they was rubbing his chest and rubbing his back, and all of a sudden he just came to life, like literally, like, you know, like the essence just went into his body, the soul, if you will. And then he just started crying, and it was like a relief. You know, I experienced my son literally born dead, like without the spirit in his body. So I'm saying to myself, okay, while he was in the womb, right? Because, you know, he was moving around and shit. Was that just the mother, probably life force that was making him, sustaining his life in the womb? Because they say you don't really breathe while you're in the womb, in the placenta or whatever, right? The mother breathes for you, the mother eats for you. So my baby was born without a soul for like 13, 14 seconds. You know what I mean? So I said to homeboy, I said, look, I believe personally, you know, the same way how you was born, right? Or before you was born, you ceased to exist. You know, you ceased to exist. Yeah, you probably had the body. You know, the mother and father probably produced the body, but you wasn't there. I think it's the same way in death. You know, when you die and shit, you leave the body and you go back to where you came from. That's what I believe. You know what I mean? I don't believe is how, you know, Christianity depicted, oh, when you die, you go to hell and you burn for eternity. It says, oh, who the fuck ever went to hell and came back to tell you that's how hell is? Now, if people even, let's say, experience that, right, that's probably hallucination. It's almost like dreaming and shit. Maybe this person was unconscious and was in a dream state, and experienced so-called hell. I don't believe nobody ever experienced hell, because I've never experienced God. I've never seen God. You never seen God. Nobody ever seen God. We know there is. Put it this way. We heard of a God. I know there is a creator because we're creation. That for sure. You know what I'm saying? But we never really experienced this quote unquote God. At least I haven't. How about you? You know. But I believe there is a source. I believe there is a source, and I believe we all, including insects and shit, right? We have life from the source. It's like an invisible life force, right? That we can't see, but it gives us. It's almost like with a flashlight, right? You have the flashlight. What makes up a flashlight? You have the casing, you have the battery, and you have the light bulb. Without one of the other, the flashlight is unusable. So you need a bulb, you need battery, and you need the casing. So you don't really necessarily need the casing. So the casing would be our body, this meat suit that we have, right? And the light bulb will be probably our eyes and shit, right? That sees what's really going on. And then the life force would be the battery. So the life force is the energy that's within. You see what I'm saying? That's how I describe life. And where do we get the source? Where does the source come from? So if you think about a flashlight, right, without the battery, which is actually the source of the energy to operate this flashlight, without the battery, then there's no flashlight. So I believe that there is a source out there somewhere, which we refer to as God. But God is a title, so I don't pray to God, because God is just a title. Anybody can be a God and shit. Your car can be a God. Your jewelry, your bitch can be a God. You know what I mean? I mean, your woman can be a God. Excuse me, right? So I personally believe that we are life force. We come from a source. And when the body, which is the outer casing of the flashlight, is damaged, the battery falls out of the casing. So now the light bulb can't work anymore, because the battery is not connected to that little spring in the back of the flashlight. So that's what I believe the body is. The body is actually the casing, the meat suit. You know what I'm saying? So once the meat suit is damaged, then the life force can't cease to exist, or cannot exist anymore into this meat suit. And that's why oftentimes when the body is damaged, you're unconscious, because now it's some kind of disruption. So they have to put you on some kind of artificial life support. Whatever they do with the life support, whether to continue pump the oxygen or blood or whatever. So it's artificial until either the meat suit gets repaired, to a degree where it can continue to sustain the life force, right? And if it reaches to a point where it cannot sustain this life force, let's say the blood, for example, they said the blood is what, if you lose a certain amount of blood and shit, certain pints of blood, you die, because your blood is oxygenated, right? And it travels through, the heart pumps the blood and shit, and the blood goes to your body, and then it helps the brain. And if you think about it also, right, like when my son got shot in the head, right, when he was murdered by this devil that probably ain't living no more, right? All praise be to the Most High for that. When they shot him in his head, he was brain dead. So his brain was no longer functioning. However, his heart was still beating. So what they did, they put him on life support. They literally it was like an artificial life force, right? Allowing him to, well, he wasn't there, because they said once the brain ain't there, you're really dead and shit. You know what I'm saying? Says who though? You know what I mean? Because that's what scientists say. That's what the medical doctors say. So if that's the case, you have people that goes into a coma for like shit. Yeah, I know. I've heard people go into a coma for months and come out of a coma. So what happens? So you're saying when you're in a coma, you're not conscious anymore. So whatever essence, whatever maybe spirit, if you will, or soul, is no longer in your body. So you're like you're like a shell, right? You're like a shell and shit. So you're in a coma. The soul leaves your body. Where does it go? Does the Most High take, or whatever, this life force decide to snatch this life existence from your body and do whatever with it, and then bring it back after? I mean, what really goes on? Nobody knows, family. Really, nobody knows. So I'm saying this to say, with all this ranting and shit and just running my mouth, I'm saying this to say, man, live life as if it's the last day on earth. Each day you wake up, right, the Most High allows you, with this source and shit, this power, whatever, allows you to wake up to see another day. Enjoy life. Live life. Enjoy your family. I'm not saying to go out there and wild out and do this crazy thing that's gonna, destroy the temple where the soul dwells, that comes from a source. But live life, enjoy life. But what I'm saying, when I say enjoy life, don't go out there smoking weed and hoeing and doing all kind of shit. Just love your family, love your fellow man. Don't love your enemy though, because I hate my enemy. Don't love your enemy. Never love your enemy. That's stupid to love your enemy. You know what I'm saying? But just enjoy life, and stop thinking that, oh, it's better for you to die and go to heaven or hell, or go to be with Jesus and shit, because nobody knows what happened after you die. Nobody, not even me. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. We only can speculate and shit. We only can speculate that, after death and shit, there's an afterlife. We don't really know. We would want it to be an afterlife. We would want it to be, we would want to think that there's something better than this shit, this motherfucking hellhole that we live in, but we don't know. We really don't know. So I would just say, family, just, enjoy what you have here, because once you're put into that box and shit, we don't know if we are going to ever be able to breathe another breath, or live another life, right? According to people believing after the afterlife. I don't know anymore. I really don't. I'll be questioning a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Still believe in the Most High power. Still believe that there is a source. Still follow laws, statutes, and commandments in the dietary law, because it only makes sense to me to be obedient, to the laws, statutes, and commandments, because it's not hard. 10 commandments. I don't follow all 613 of them, because it's just too many laws to follow. I'm not perfect. I'm not a Leviticus priest, but I do follow the 10 commandments. I definitely try to follow the dietary law. As far as the Shabbat, I definitely try to follow the Shabbat. You know what I'm saying? I love my fellow man. I hate my enemy. I hate my enemy. I hate my enemy. I would never love my motherfucking enemy, my oppressors. I hate them. You know what I'm saying? And I know God hates too, because it says that in the so-called Bible, Helio-Biblos Bible, right? God hates. And how do I know God hates? Because when we do wicked shit, he punishes us. I'm sure he don't love us. If he loved us, he wouldn't be punishing us at the moment when we're doing wickedness, you know what I'm saying, against him or her or it, because we don't know what God is, you know what I'm saying? The source is. But yeah, so I hate my enemy. You know what I mean? I'm going to close out with that. But that, I say shalom.